and we're going to do a minute a speaker, given the fact that we have so many speakers, and I want to make sure we get to every single speaker.
Good evening. There seems to be some confusion as to why 4547 Park Place should be granted landmark status. Mayor Bloomberg and the City Council have, for reasons unknown, failed to back up their decision to demolish this building. Further, many in the media failed to report the reasons why this building should or should not be landmarked. For example, today in the New York Times, Clyde Haberman's column titled "Islamic Center Fight, Lessons in Prepositions and Fear-Mongering." What is he talking about? Never once does he mention the historic value of 4547 Park Place. Rather, he chooses to accuse conservatives of making statements that are inflammatory or misleading or both. Poor Mr. Haberman, he doesn't understand this is not a political issue. In the words of Bob Tierney, chairperson of the LPC, 311 Broadway was granted landmark status since it's one of the few remaining palazzo-style buildings in Lower Manhattan. Yes, both 311 Broadway and 45 Park Place are Italian Renaissance palazzo-style buildings. In light of the fact that these buildings are scarce, why was one granted landmark status and the other is about to be denied that status? The historical significance of this property is clear. Completed in 1857 through 1858, this five-story store and loft building is a fine example of the Italian Renaissance-inspired palazzi that flourished from the 1850s through the 1870s. By drawing upon architectural vocabulary of the Italian Renaissance palazzos, the builders of mercantile structures like 4547 Park Place sought to project an image of prestige and economic power. This building still remains much of its historic fabric, including its original ground floor Corinthian colonnade.
Okay, I need to wrap up. Thank you. And it's now my great pleasure to introduce a great friend of Lower Manhattan, Senator Daniel Squadron, who has done an outstanding job representing our Lower Manhattan community on so many. We're thrilled that he's here before going up to Albany, so we're really excited that he's here with us tonight.
Yes, I'm very excited to be going up to Albany, let me tell you. I had no idea my retail report was so popular. There's a line out the door, so it's pretty extraordinary. What I've said about that, I've said it before, is I don't think there is any communities that should have any other community. I don't think there's any neighborhood that should have any community prohibited from being there. I think that, especially in Lower Manhattan, the idea you can boo me when I'm done. I think that especially in Lower Manhattan, which is a community that I represent, we are welcoming, we are diverse, and certainly there are no areas that don't accept religions or cultures anywhere in this country, and certainly not Lower Manhattan.
What about terrorism?
Julie, I know you were hoping that I would take a question on that.
Okay, any other one or two more questions for the senator? Ma'am, you are out of order. If you continue this, you're going to have to leave the meeting. Okay, is there another question for the senator?
You said yes?
Sure.
I'm concerned as to why no one is considering the value of this building as a historic building. No one will talk about the landmark preservation issue. I'm not here about anything else other than to discuss why this building should be landmarked.
So,
But why won't you, why do you say, why do we always have to bring in religion and everything else? Don't you fight for buildings in New York City with historic value to be preserved?
right, well, fair enough, and out of respect to the community board, this is going to be the last question I take on this topic. I absolutely, and I think that it's up to the Landmarks Preservation Commission. I don't have much of an aesthetic eye. Sometimes I like architecture, sometimes I don't. But I got to tell you, that decision has to be about the building itself and not about the proposed use one way or the other. And I think that that's an absolutely legitimate question on any building unrelated to its use, on topics other than this.
So I warn you about that. I also feel in particular about this mosque. This is a mosque that wants to use sacred ground, to be built on sacred ground. This is where 3,000 lives were lost. I don't see how this community board and the mayor can even consider such a thing. I want to give you the history of what Islam does with holy
Ma'am,
places.
I'm going to ask you to sit down. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
She had her minute. Everyone has a minute. You all have the same amount of time. The next speaker is Barbara Palucci, followed by Yetta Curlin.
Check the history of Islam and holy
You need to
places.
sit down.
Hello, my name is Barbara Palucci. I wanted to say tonight, I testified at the Landmark Preservation Commission's hearing. I submitted a formal request for a 9/11 historic district to be created. I just handed the chairman of this committee a copy of my statement to them listing all of the architectural reasons to landmark the building, as well as a copy of the request for the Landmark Historic District to be created, which would include 45-47 Park Place. So, if nothing else, we deserve a historic district for that event. Now I would like to ask either Pamela or Robert Spencer to come up and address this, which is a copy of an email I have today that talks about the imam, this imam Ralph, who says one thing in English and something else quite different in Arabic. Would one of you please come up and address this, please? Take my time. Thank you.
The next speaker is Yetta Curlin, followed by Joyce Boland. Everyone gets 1 minute, so when 1 minute is expired, no one gets 2 minutes. Right now, we're over capacity. You've got 30 people out here who aren't even going to be able to speak because this room is over capacity. Yetta, please speak. And Yetta, our next speaker is Joyce Boland, followed by Eileen Dunn.
Poland, and I live in Ringwood, New Jersey, and I have a son who is 25. He was on the 97th floor of Tower 1, and the plane hit directly into where he was working that morning. I consider myself one of the lucky ones, if I can say lucky, because most families did not get back any remains. However, we did get back 2 inches of skin, 3 inches of a tendon, and a couple of pieces of bone. So you can see that ground zero to me is the burial site of my son. It is a very, very special place. It's like a cemetery where you go to visit your family. Excuse me. I don't want to have to go when I go down to visit my son and see and pray and talk to him, to look up and to see a mosque overwhelming, looking down at me.
That's right.
I don't want to have to go and tell my son every day that he's there, his remains are in that dirt, that when the bells ring to call the people to prayer, he has to hear those bells and know why he's there and not home with me.
It's a call of terror. It's a call of terror.
Well, maybe it is, but a duck by any other name is still a duck. When they want to extend a hand of friendship, you don't extend the hand of friendship by putting out one hand here and the other hand with a knife that's going into your heart and killing you. I want to know where the money is coming from for this mosque. I would like a full investigation of where this money comes from and that it's not blood money. And if it isn't blood money and they still collect the money, then if they really want to be friends, what they should do is take that money, don't build a mosque there, they can build it anywhere else.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Don't cut her off.
Our next speaker is Eileen Dunn, followed by June. And let me just say one thing. To the woman who spoke before that, just on behalf of the board, we certainly extend our condolences to you for your loss. June Hurst, followed by Bruce Airman.
I'm here to speak about Emma and Katie. Their father worked for Kent Fitzgerald on the 104th floor of the World Trade Center. He died on September 11, 2001. His remains were never found. Emma and Katie were only 5 and 2 years old at the time. The World Trade Center Memorial will be the only gravesite they will ever have. There may have been very good intentions for this young Islamic man to build a mosque near the World Trade Center to attempt to foster a better understanding of Islam. Unfortunately, Emma and Katie and the many, many other children, relatives, and friends who lost loved ones that day should not have this place of mourning and sorrow overshadowed by a large, imposing Islamic mosque. It is not only inappropriate, it is unfairly asking too much of all of these people. This young man who wants to do something special for Islam, I think I can make a suggestion to him. He could donate any money he has collected and use it to fight the extremists within Islam. In this country, and I'm sure elsewhere, that are actually afraid of speaking out against this Islamic extremist groups because they themselves are attacked. The greatest gift, yes, in Illinois, the greatest gift this young man could give everyone is if he could use the money he has collected to help protect these moderate Muslims who do speak out and hopefully try in every way possible to re-educate these Islamic extremists. And that was the best thing that can do.
Airman, followed by Vinod Kumar.
In May, at this meeting in May that we had, I was sort of attacked as I was leaving by people who said that I didn't know history. So I just want to put out a challenge that if anyone here lived through 9/11 as I did, and who's suffered any kind of loss as a result of the Holocaust and has been to Yad Vashem in Israel, I would cordially challenge them to a debate on history and the meaning of repression. I'm serious. If anyone would like to join me in that debate, I would love to engage you on a serious level, not on a shouting, screaming level. I've been inculcated in this matter my entire life. So please, someone who can meet those criteria, please take me up on the challenge. Now I want to read, to the extent that I have time, a piece from Stephen Prothero, who is a professor of religion, an author of many religious books, who writes for the Washington Post and also CNN. He writes that, and this was recently, if Sharif el-gamal, who is one of the principals in this matter, continues to receive opposition to this project on religious grounds, as he did on July 13th at a Landmarks Preservation Commission hearing from groups such as the Stop Islamicization of America, he will have a slam dunk case under powerful legislation pushed into law, ironically, by many of these same people on the religious right, now opposed so adamantly to this community center and mosque.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to wrap up.
We're done?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll read one more sentence. The Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act is a federal statute enacted in 2000 by unanimous consent in both the House and the Senate. Its purpose to safeguard the religious liberties of Americans, including groups whose places of worship are under fire.
Okay. Vinod Kumar, followed by Mosque.
My name is Vinod Kumar. in real estate, there are three most important factors. The three are location, location, location. Why do they want to build a mosque on this particular place? There is a long background to this. Why this? The problem is not the mosque, problem is the location. The pagan pantheon of Kaaba, located in Mecca, was the first non-Muslim sanctuary to be used as a mosque. This was done by Prophet Muhammad himself after he conquered Mecca in 630 CE. Since then, it has been an established practice of Muslim conquerors to demolish icons of people they conquer and build a mosque to use the iconic structure of the vanquished as mosque. Let me give a few examples. Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem is at a site also known as the
Okay,
temple.
sir, you need to wrap up, please.
Okay, let me wrap it up very shortly.
You need to wrap up right now.
Oh, you only got another 30 seconds.
Have a minute?
Please finish your sentence.
I can make a
Everyone
point.
gets the exact same amount of time. Please finish your sentence, sir.
That's very shortly. In the medieval times, churches and synagogues and temples used to be the icons of civilizations. Today, these icons have been replaced by democracy, military, and economic might. That is what America stands for today. Building a mosque at the hallowed grounds of demolished WTC, icons of America's economic
Sir,
might.
you finished a sentence. We need to move on. There are 30 people out there who aren't even going to be able to speak. It's absolutely not fair that everyone doesn't get equal time. Our next speaker is Assembly Member Glick, followed by Satya Desparti, followed by Denise Lafredo.
Yeah, hi, my name is Satya Desparti. I'm from Hindu Human Rights Watch. We are also a member of Coalition for Human Rights organization where moderate Muslims are also part of it. I just want to request you to preserve that site where the mosque is going to be built, not only because for what it is, if it is not preserved, what is expected to be built. And for some of you who are, for my dear Senator and other people, the board who are telling us that we should have tolerance, I want to ask you, have you asked the questions with Mr. Raf or other people? How come you wrote, where are you getting the funding from? What is that you wrote in the book? How come we have been, so many things are told to us and you are not asking those questions to this? You become a cowards of our own thinking. And I tell you, we suffered so much. 80 million of us were butchered. Today, 350,000 of us were killed. And tell me one Islamic country except Turkey where there is tolerance. They are not hiding the fact. Jihad is, whether it is a overt jihad or a stealth jihad, it is still the same. And it will cause the same damage. This is a great country. Find out, open up your eyes, see what is at stake. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Lou Caminali, an average everyday citizen and the conscience of the United States. I want to tell you that the imam who's behind this mosque has ties to the offshoots of Muslim Brotherhood. Read his book, you'll find out. He has ties to the recent flotilla incident over Gaza. Why? Why is he involved at all? He has told the U.S. that we were responsible for 9/11. I don't believe that. He has insisted that the U.S. needs to understand the mind of the terrorist. I don't want to understand the mind of the terrorist. In Staten Island, just recently, there was a Catholic church that was going to sell a convent to Muslims that were connected to Muslim Brotherhood. Once they found out that there was a terrorist ties, they declined the sale. And I am appealing to this committee, please find out the background of this imam before it is too late. Find out what he stands for. Don't be fooled.
Do your homework.
One last comment.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, your time is up.
One last comment. We just can't put a memorial to the ideology that killed innocent people right at the foot of their grave.
John, yes, in Covento, that's great, if you could go.
Okay, I think there are so many non-racist, non-bigoted, non-insensitive reasons not to build this mosque. And in addition, there are so many warning signs and flags. A lot of them were mentioned today. Like, I think one gentleman tried to say that the Cordoba project, which is the name of this, they chose that name, and if you look back, I think in 14th century, Muslims conquered Cordoba in Spain. Where is the money coming from? And that's what I wanted to ask the senator that was standing up here earlier, whose goodwills and intentions said that you should be able to build in any community. Do they know the facts? Do they know all these warning signs and flags that are going on with this project? But I think the real reasons is when you listen to the mother that lost her son, as well as the other lady who spoke about the 2 little children, those are reasons enough not to build this mosque. And in addition, I think that those people that are backing this can do more by way of healing and peace by saying, we understand you, we heard you, we will not build here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Press, Dr. John Press. I am the president of the Brooklyn Tea Party and the author of the book Culturism. People have been saying that what we're saying is racist because they're multiculturalists. They say all cultures are the same, and to say anything otherwise is racist. This is wrong. Cultural diversity is real. Islam has been hostile to us, hostile to the West from the beginning. Read your history. Muhammad and Jesus, very different characters. Obviously, somebody said we're not going to have, we have laws that are going to prevent this. We need to have culturist laws. Saudi Arabia doesn't let us build churches. They're culturists. We also need to be culturists. And it can start here. The name of this project is the Cordoba House. Why? Because Islam has taken the West and they want to celebrate their ability to push us and maybe take us again. We need to have some culturist awareness, people. It's not racist to point out that cultural diversity is real. It's culturist. We got to get rid of this celebrate diversity of multiculturalism and instead have a culturist mindset and have culturism. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joy Brighton, I'm a New Yorker. I'm appealing to everyone who usually watches 60 Minutes but didn't watch it on Sunday. On Sunday, Leslie Stahl interviewed a guy by the name of Majid Namaz, who was a British guy, regular guy, brought up in a non-religious household, who was then radicalized, went into a terror group around 27 countries called Hizb ut-Tahrir, and decided that he wanted to enforce the strict interpretation of Islam onto everyone, as he'd been told it was important to do. No religious freedom, which is, I know, something we all care about, religious freedom. He has since reversed course, and he now works for the British government to say we need to stop the radicalization of youth. But how do we do it? There's a narrative going on out there, and the narrative says that America is at war with Islam. Not true, he says. There's mosques everywhere in America. There's a narrative that's going on that says America's at war with Iraq to kill Muslims. Not true, it's about oil, oil, oil. Now, how do we stop the narrative? And he said it's so hard because what we're dealing with is a political movement, not a religion anymore. It's morphed into a political movement. And the way to stop it is to stop the narrative. But the narrative is being told on all kinds of streets.
Excuse me, a lot of people aren't even going to have time to speak. We have to follow the time. Thank you. Okay. 1 sentence, please.
The narrative is being told on city streets and in mosques. Some mosques are political basis, some mosques are religious basis.
Okay,
the way
thank
to
you
determine
very
it is
much.
fundraising and the affiliation of the leaders. It's a known fact.
Thank you, ma'am. Your
That's
time is
how to
up.
differentiate it.
I'm Reverend Dr. Sammy Sampson, frontline fighter on Islam, Christianity, and Jews-related issues. I will just say for the future reference that this mosque will be the slogan from Islam that we have defeated America. Number 2. From Quran, Surah 5, verse 51, 551, it says, do not be friendly to Jews and Christians. Hadith Bukhari, volume 7, Hadith number 5892 and 99, and volume 4, Hadith number 3462. Do the opposite of Jews and Christians. That is from Islam. So if any Muslim wants the mutual respect, they should allow all the Jews and Christians to pay their taxes and churches in front of Kaaba.
Hi, my name is Sharif El-Gamal, and I am here as a resource regarding the landmarks issue in respect to 45 Park Place. Thank you very much.
Can you repeat that?